Hi everyone, this is Steph with Stampin' and Scrappin' with Steph, and today I'm going to share with you how I made this really fun desk caddy with a calendar. First off, I want to start off by apologizing for being a little kind of missing in action here. There's been a lot going on. I've been working a lot, unfortunately, and it has taken away from some of my crafting time. And then on top of that, I had a plumbing issue, which has left some of my space kind of in a little bit of a disarray, and we're still working through that. So it's been tough to get into my room and do what I need to do with everything going on. But I really wanted to make a point to let you guys know that I am still here. I'm still doing Stampin' Up. I appreciate those of you that have reached out to me to see what's going on. And for those of you that have ordered recently, I'm hoping that as my kids' school year and sports kind of wind down and we roll into kind of a little bit more quieter days, that I'll be back doing my cards to go and sharing with you some more of my fun projects. And I love doing this, and this is my peace and sanity. So, I decided it's really important to make sure that I incorporate this. So again, I am here, just unfortunately not as visible as I'd like to be. Okay. So with that said, this is a project that I created for my Stampin' Friends blog hop, and our May theme is a masculine theme. And as I was thinking about what type of project to make, I mean, masculinity or masculine type of cards has kind of always been a struggle, I think, because the necessity for me to make them hasn't been there. But there is a need, just I guess not as often. And I was trying to think of, as I'm making a gift, what would be useful as a paper project. So I made it this like desk caddy here, I guess, with the thought that I'm going to fill it maybe with some treats for my husband that he can leave on his desk, or, pens and things that are more accessible for him at work. I know it's paper, so, I want to make sure that there is some durability and how it stands, up to being used and that type of stuff. So, and again, there are so many desk caddy type of projects sitting all over Pinterest, all over Facebook, all over YouTube. Choose something that works for you guys. This is what I figured out, over the years, and kind of took what I've already learned and kind of recreated something that I find works for me. Okay, so to make this caddy, you'll see there's a pocket, 2 pockets inside here, and then a bigger section towards the back. You will need a piece of cardstock cut from a 12 by 12 sheet, and you want to cut that down to 10 1/4 by 10. So you will need a large piece. And I used Early Espresso. You can find 12 by 12 paper packs with the Stampin' Up! Catalog. We have them in the color categories, and you'd get 2 of each color. So this would be from neutrals. And then you're going to take, let's see, we also need one that is 6 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then another that is, make sure I have the right one, 4 3/4 by 5. I have a smaller one here, which is for the little calendar, and that one is 2 1/2 by 3 1/4. I need a piece of cardstock for the back panel, and this one is 5 3/4 by 4 3/4. And then I have 2 strips here that are both 1 3/4 by 12. And these are, one is a designer series paper, which is the brand new paper. It's really one of the first things that I purchased. I really loved it, and I wish, like I said, I had more time. But this one is called Beauty of the Earth Designer Series paper, and it's just really pretty patterns of like nature. And I think this worked well for a masculine style card. The reverse is more like evergreens, if you can kind of see the way the brush strokes are. And this one is, it just reminds me of like fall leaves. So it just depends on, you know, what you prefer to use. And this is just an extra tab there. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is all of our scoring. And take out your scoreboard here. And we are going to start with the 10-inch side across the top. I'm sorry, let me move my tabs. When I'm doing so many different scoring things, I don't like to use them, but if I was doing multiple projects and I need to score in the same spot, I would mark my tabs there. All right, so with the 10-inch side at the top, I'm going to score it 2 and 8. Oops, careful not to skip. I don't know why it's been doing that lately. All right, and then I'm going to turn once for the 10 1/4 inch side at the top, and then we're going to score at 5 and 7. And if it does jump a little bit, the nice thing is most of these edges will be hidden. I'm going to set that aside, and now I'm going to do the next one, which is the 6 1/4 by 5 1/4. Make sure. So 6 1/4. Okay, and we're going to start with the 5 1/4 inch side at the top. We're going to score at 1, and then 1 and make sure I get my measurements, 4 1/4. Turn it to the 6 1/4 inch side, and we're going to do 3 1/4 and 4 1/4. Now you could certainly adjust your paper and your measurements to suit something that you're making. This is something that I've made in the past, and so it's just, I'm using it kind of the way that it is. And the nice thing about this is you can change the look of it just by changing the paper or the embellishments. All right, so the last one we're going to score on the 4 3/4 side, and we're going to go 1 and then 3 3/4. Turn it to the 5-inch side, and we're going to score at 2 and 3. Okay. They all assemble the same exact way, which is nice. It's just this caddy is, you know, just a couple different boxes assembled together. Let's grab the bone folder. You could make this as a gift for somebody within Stampin' Up! To put some of their tools in it. It could be a card holder. So I'm just going to burnish my score lines and get a nice crease on everything. And then the big one. And I'm going to show you an option on how to put this, kind of like assemble this as well. All right. So I'm going to start with the biggest one, since this is the kind of foundation of the box. And you'll see that you have a bigger section up top and a little bit of a smaller section towards the bottom. So when you do put that together, you'll see here's the shorter side, here's the longer side, and I'll show you how to do the angle. So this is the front of your box, this is the back. And all you're really going to do is we're going to take our scissors, and you're going to cut up along the score lines, and then do a little notch to just kind of help the fold along. And it just makes it easier during assembly to not have all that excess overlap. Do the same thing on this side. I am assembling this using the liquid Tombow glue. You could use tear and tape. You could use Stampin' Sale Plus. Decided to go with the glue just because I know this is going to be sitting on a desk, and I want to make sure that it stands up to the elements. I'm just going to fix this little notch right here. and to assemble. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to add my Tombow to these two flaps here and here. Sorry, I'm a little off camera there. Just like that. And then I'm going to take my big end here and I'm going to overlap onto that flap. And I apologize, my camera angle seems to be a little bit off, but it was adjusted just fine before I started recording. Well, you know, things happen. I must have hit something not realizing. Okay, so now I have my two tabs in. And to be honest, if I zoom out a little bit, you would see the disaster that is my desk. And even though I don't hide to be a really neat type of crafter, just with everything being a mess down here, it's a little embarrassing. All right, and so now you have these two flaps here, which are going to fold over like so. You could certainly tuck them in if you prefer that look, but then you have an open seam here, and I don't like that. So now I'm going to open the box like this, and I'm going to add my adhesive to the inside of these two flaps. I don't go completely to the edge because I feel like when you're smushing the glue around, it spreads out. So if you do too much, then you get that bleed. So now I just got my flap over and I'm just pressing firmly. And Tombow is one of those glues that will dry fast, but you do have some wiggle room to make sure everything lines up. And now I'm just going to take my bone folder from the inside here and just kind of get to all the edges. And now I'm going to set that one aside and just give it a chance to set before we go forward. I'm going to take the next one. And again, they all come together the same. And you can add the diagonal if you want. You don't have to. So same thing, cut up on those score lines here to create a tab and do a little notch or a miter. It just helps, like I said, when you're assembling the box, those tabs kind of tuck in a little bit better. And then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to add adhesive here and here. Take the longest piece and fold it over. Now, I'm going to show you two different ways when we get to the kind of assembly part of putting the little boxes to the big boxes. Another option. And then you can decide, like I said, if you want to use the diagonal trim there. So same thing like with the big box, I'm adding the adhesive to the inside of these back tabs and then just folding it over and just making sure my edges line up. And give it a little press, set that one aside. And I will say, these boxes do come together rather quickly, so you could do multiples, you know, and get them done in a short amount of time. It's different when you're doing the explaining. It seems like, oh wow, that takes a while, and it really doesn't. All right. And same thing with this box. We'll add a little bit of adhesive here. Now this one, the sides are the same size. So put it together, you know, whichever first that you want, but stay consistent. Like make sure you work your sides the same section. Like don't put this one on the inside and then this one on the outside. It's not going to sit right. And then again, add your little flaps here. And then these will, oops, fold up neatly, like so. All right. And now you have 3 little boxes. And like I was saying, there's so many out there on Pinterest. Just do a search by like a desk caddy or pencil holders or organizers, and you'll see all the ones that come up. Okay. So now, as you can see here on the original box or caddy that I made, there's a diagonal cut, and you can see I got glue somewhere it didn't need to be, but it's fine. And as you can see, my seam is a visible seam here, whereas on this one, I made sure to put that under. So you don't see it. And if that's something that doesn't bother you, then, you know, whatever way works for you. So on the main box, the large box, I am going to cut the diagonal, and then I'll show you on the other 2 what I mean by if you don't want to do that. So you could certainly take a ruler and draw a line from corner to corner and then trim it. I'm just going to use my large scissors, and I'm going to go from this corner here to the top of this paper here. And I'm just cutting it just like that. And you'll see there's the diagonal. All right. And then when I do this side, I'm going from this corner here to this corner here. And the scissors are just guiding the way. Like you'll see, like the length of the scissor is enough to get from here to here without having to like really snip down your way. And then you have your box. All right. So when I made my original one, I just tucked these 2 boxes right inside, and they fit pretty snug in there. I didn't add any extra adhesive or anything like that. I just grabbed them and kind of just stuffed them in there. And again, with everything being a disaster here, and I shouldn't keep apologizing, but I know my lighting is a little off because so many things have been moved that if there is a glare again, please bear with me. It's only temporary. But the other way that you could do this is by taking the boxes and adding them here on your outside. And so you would end up with a caddy that looks like this. And it would actually be glued together, so you won't see these gaps here. And then we would wrap a band around to kind of make them a little more reinforced, and it stays attached. And then you have this large pocket right here for so many different things. I actually prefer it like this with them tucked inside. I don't really think there was a need for me to have this wide section. Okay, so with them being on the outside, you would want to make sure that you trim the diagonal as well, because it will look finished sitting here versus like this. Hopefully that makes sense. So just like I did with the big box, I'm going corner. Oh, and that one moved on me. All right, well, we'll make do. Corner to corner, just like I did in the original box. Just like that. And then I just grabbed the little one here and I tucked that in. And then I tucked this one in. And it just has a really snug fit. And then we're going to decorate the outside. If you want to reinforce it and add some Tombow to the bottom so that it kind of stays in place, but I've loaded the original one, unloaded it, reloaded it, and it just, they don't seem to move. I mean, I suppose if it got dropped, that would be one thing. But, all right, so now I'm taking that 12-inch strip that's kind of left, that was left over when you trim down the 12 by 12 sheet of paper. And I'm just adding this to the front and creasing it as I go around. You can skip this and just do DSP, but I felt it adds a bit of support to the front of the box. It is not necessary, but I liked the overall look of that. And then we're going to take the designer series paper. So you could just do one or the other. I'm doing both. Again, more for support for the glued edges. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Oop. And that's why I get glue places. You could work out your edges and use a bone folder before you stick it down. I'm okay with just eyeballing the wrap. And the same thing here. And then when I lay it flat, I'm just rubbing against the back side. Just like that. And then the last thing I'm going to do is take that other piece of cardstock that's 5 3/4 by 4 3/4 and add some Tombow. Another thing you could do if you have on hand, which I don't, but a long reach stapler will help enforce anything that you've glued on. Any tabs. And now I'm just sticking that panel to the back side of the box. And that just helps, again, add a little bit of support, helps to keep those back tabs on and keep it folded. You could certainly add some ribbon to polish this off. But for this one, I'm now going to take one of these little mini calendars that I have and add, I'm just going to use the stamp and seal on the back. And I'm going to stick this calendar down. Now this would be a great gift at the start of the year, obviously, because then you're not tearing off January through April. And now I'm going to add the Tombow to the back side of this. And at the end of the year, you could replace the calendar. It's just simple, just reattach a new one and add that to the front like that. Super simple. Change up the paper and you'll have a totally different look. But you can make so, like I said, you can make so many of these. And so my intent was, I haven't decided if I'm going to do some candy bars or some treats like that. And you could certainly change your dimensions or your pockets and make them a little bit bigger. Like this short one right here, you could certainly go taller by a smidge and have it a little more flush with the edge of this. And again, it's just quick adjustments. But you could certainly, let's see, so on this little front pocket here, you could fit 2 regular size Post-it notes. You could actually grab a third one and shove it in there. For this front one, I found these pens that I've used in the past for some projects at my local Dollar Tree. And I love that it's like a wood grain. So it definitely has a masculine look and you can stick those there. If I was giving this as a gift, I definitely would do some sort of a matching pen pack, make it all uniform, and then you could see, like, you could just totally fit a good amount of paper. Like, so if this was on somebody's desk and you wanted them to be able to use it for notes, these are some different notepads that I've come across. Some I've gotten at Dollar Tree, I think some at Walmart. Right? Really cute. All right. And if you were giving this as a gift to somebody that is doing Stampin' Up, well, let me actually, instead of reorganizing one, let's move to this one. So you could certainly throw an adhesive here. You could stick, I'm just going to put my cap on my Tombow. here. Let's see, what else do we have? If I had packs of markers, you could stick it there. You could add a pack of pencils. Let's see, I have my tear and tape could go in there. We could throw scissors. You know, it's just, again, whatever you would make it. You could also do some, I guess, note cards. And if I was giving this as a gift with some note cards, I would probably have my papers match. But here's some note cards. You know, maybe a few of the pens. Maybe some, you could add some labels or some stamps and tuck that inside there. And you can see, like this one does have a stamped image on it. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video. Leave a comment and be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much. Have a great day.